Hey, it's Vivid. Today is June 20th, 2020, and it's been a year since I moved away from Seattle, and it's been a year since I moved to California. And it's been a really fast year, honestly. Like, a lot happened, but it went by super quickly. And yeah, and I did a lot of reflecting on like the two places and like the changes that has brought to my life ever since I moved here. So yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit of my experience and my story. So a little bit of background story. I was born and raised in Taiwan. I also moved around a lot growing up. So I've lived in Philippines, China, Taiwan, and now the US. And after high school in China, I moved to Seattle for 4 years. That's where I went to college. In the 4 years in Seattle, it was really fun and I really love Seattle. But there's just something about California that I'm so drawn to. I think it's just like the weather and the vibes. But yeah, so I decided to move to California 2 months before graduation, and I decided to move here without like having a job, anything planned. I just spontaneously was like, okay, I'm gonna go. One of the reasons why I moved here is because of family. My brother lives in the Bay Area and my cousin lives in the Bay Area as well. And when I first moved to the Bay, I got to stay with my brother for 2 months, which is in Oakland. So Oakland was a really cool place too. I really liked it. So I only lived there temporarily, and then after I got a job, I moved to where my office is located, which is in South Bay. Those 2 months was really hard. Like I'm actually really proud of myself for making such a bold move. I literally moved here without a job, without like any like reassurance that I will be able to stay in the United States. I was moving to a place where I have no network at all and like somewhere that I'm not familiar with. But thank God I have family here and I do have a couple of friends here. So I actually was lucky enough to get a job before I got deported from the United States. In October 2019, I settled in South Bay because of work. I still went to San Francisco very often after I moved to South Bay because I have friends who live in San Francisco. And once you start like your first job, you're kind of like, okay, like what is going on? And stress and everything. I was just like, okay, I need to go de-stress every weekend. So every weekend, like every Friday, I would take the BART or take the Caltrain to go up to SF to go out, have fun with friends, and really just explore the city. Then later, after 2 months of partying, I have realized that it's not like a good way to deal with stress and not like a good lifestyle to maintain. Yeah, I would only go once in a while for like a show or like an event. Yeah, honestly, SF is a really fun and cool city to live in. I personally prefer living in South Bay just because it's a lot cleaner and also safer. But the thing about South Bay is that if you don't have a car, you literally can't go anywhere. Nothing is walking distance. Yeah, thank God I have friends who live in the area and have cars. They always pick me up and drop me off. So I'm really grateful for that. In the beginning, I didn't want to have a car because I had a fear of driving, and also I was used to just Ubering around. Since I don't go anywhere during the weekday, I just take Ubers during the weekends, and that was like an okay thing for me. But then I realized that I have to overcome my fear one day and drive myself to be independent.
So I've been practicing my driving and trying to get a car soon.
Yeah, back when I was living in Seattle, I didn't need a car at all because I was living on campus and everything was so convenient around campus. Like literally Trader Joe's was like up the Ave, and I just walk to Trader Joe's when I need groceries, and other times when I want to go to downtown Seattle or Cap Hill, I would usually take the Link or the bus or even just Uber. Like literally all the transportation in Seattle was like super convenient. Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest differences between living in Seattle, like a city, and compared to living in like a suburban area like South Bay and the Bay Area. So Yeah, transportation, the BART in the Bay Area is so nasty. Only the new ones that are like super nice and clean, but the old ones are like super nasty. Like when I first got onto the BART, I was like, oh my gosh, like I was like very shook because it's so different than like the Link in Seattle or the MRT in Taiwan. So yeah, I was like super surprised. But I did have to say that the BART is so convenient when you have to go from Fremont, like South Bay, to San Francisco. It only takes like 45 minutes. In terms of traveling around the Bay, the BART and Caltrain are super convenient. Another big thing is obviously the weather. I definitely like the weather here a lot more than Seattle, but summers in Seattle are my favorite because it's always super sunny and super breezy, and it just feels really good being in Seattle during the summer. But the winter there is really sad sometimes because it's super rainy. I think Seattle has like a very distinct seasonal change. So during the winter it's usually pretty rainy and sometimes it would snow. Most of the time, I think every year it snowed. Yeah, there was one year when it snowed a lot. I think it was senior year, and then we had so many snow days, and then I was just stuck inside and couldn't go out, and I just got really depressed. I always get super sad when it's raining outside and I just hate the rain. I decided to move to a place where it's a lot sunnier. I think it really helps with my mood.
The seasonal affective disorder? What is it?
Yeah, it's called the seasonal affective disorder, and that's when your mood kind of changes when the weather is kind of sad, like you get depressed and you don't want to socialize. And so yeah, I think my mood really depends on the weather. When it's super sunny and nice out, I would be really happy. One of the biggest regrets that I have is not going on a hike in Seattle. Now Washington is known for having like really beautiful hikes and really beautiful like scenery. So I really regret not going hiking or snowboarding. Oh my gosh, I haven't gone snowboarding, which is insane.
I lived in Seattle for 4 years and I haven't done those two things.
I've gone hiking a few times here in California, but some of the hikes are kind of sad because it's just really dry here. There's not a lot of trees. Yeah, you have to drive further out if you want to go to like a foresty hike. For example, last time we went to Santa Cruz, the hike was really nice. It was literally like a forest. It was like a huge forest and it was super nice, and it just felt really good being close to like trees, close to the nature. I'm sure there's a lot of nice hikes around here. I just don't know yet. I just haven't discovered them yet.
I will one day. I will hike a lot this year.
So another big thing I want to mention is the food and the people here. I think the Asian food here is a lot better than the ones in Seattle. I think there's just a lot more Chinese food specifically, and because like I'm Taiwanese, I love my Taiwanese food. So, and it just makes me really happy when I get to eat Taiwanese food and, you know, just like the taste of home.
I honestly think the food here is pretty authentic, I think.
There's a lot of Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Taiwanese, what else? Indian food. But especially in Cupertino, Milpitas, Mountain View, there's a lot of Taiwanese people.
It just makes me feel a little bit more connected to my roots, you know? I just feel more like home here.
And also because my friends here are kind of like me, kind of fob, kind of not. Yeah, they all moved around a lot and went to American schools or international schools. My closest friend here actually was my middle school friend in China, so we got reconnected again and just been hanging out like every weekend. But yeah, I only have like 5 friends here, which is kind of sad, but it's okay because my friends here are actually like, you know, I love them so much, and every weekend we hang out and it's like we're just so close, you know. And back in college, I had a lot more friends than I do now. I think because I was part of a sorority, but also college was just like a good place for you to like mingle and meet new people. But after I started working, it's just so hard to meet people.
And I just haven't socialized in a really long time.
I really miss my friends in Seattle, and I want to visit as soon as quarantine is over.
I hope it's very soon.
It's just so hard to, I guess, maintain the relationship after you've moved away from the area. So I do want to, you know, make a visit and see how everyone is doing. But yeah, those are the 3 major differences that I've found after moving here for a year. I do enjoy living in California a little bit better than Seattle, just because I do feel a little bit more homey here, a little bit more myself here. But Seattle will always be my second home,
And I'm so excited to visit again.
and I'm really glad to have so many friends there, and you know that I'll be able to visit whenever, and people will still be welcoming. To my friends in Seattle, if you want to visit the Bay Area, just let me know and I'll be your personal tour guide. I'll take you to good food spots and, you know, fun places in the Bay. But yeah, I think this is going to be the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.